FM, KCAA, Southern California's best talk. NBCRadioNews.com.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 1050 AM, the International Wealth Builders Radio Show on this Saturday afternoon. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Barnes. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm telling you, you're in for a great show today. The show is dedicated to giving you resources, tips, and information to build additional dwelling units, small development lots throughout California. So we are here to empower you to make your dreams of having an accessory dwelling unit or leveraging the property you already own and control in California. So I am so excited today to have attorney Charles James with us, and it's just really unique because what we understand with the accessory dwelling unit laws has been evolving since 2017 is that, we have a housing shortage across the country, especially in California, and they have, the legislature have empowered different laws under accessory dwelling units to really get all hands on deck for homeowners, investors, anyone who owns property in the state of California to leverage that property by adding additional dwelling units. Just this month, in January of 2023, 18 new laws were passed affecting housing and the ability to create housing on property that you already have. They've included taking some of our retail and commercial buildings and converting them over into housing units. They've allowed us to take our lots and subdivide them and add 2 to 3 additional living spaces on them. And so as the laws evolve, so does the team and the expertise that you need to actually, make the project a reality. And so with Attorney James, he's not only an attorney, he's also a builder, developer. His expertise and experience in projects cross the realm of residential and commercial development, whether it's industrial, retail, and I just think this is a valuable resource. So today we're not only going to be able to talk about simple accessory dwelling units with garage conversions or adding up to 1,200 square feet on your property, we will also be able to talk about small lot developments, about conversing, looking at some of the commercial opportunities that's available, and some of the projects that we have going on in the area. And he can give us some tips. So I'm just really excited. Charles, thanks so much, Attorney James, for being with me today. And I know we can't cover everything, but I'm sure that the listeners will get valuable information and be able to move forward.
Okay, thank you for having me, Dr. Barnes. I really appreciate you having me here today. I wanted to get a disclaimer out before we get started.
Of course,
we got to do
attorney.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to do our little advertisement here. This radio show is only for advertisement and does not create an attorney-client relationship. The only way you can create that relationship is by signing an agreement to allow yourself to work with the attorney. So we want to make that clear. It's only for advertising purposes, but let's jump right into it and discuss what the good people want to hear.
Exactly. So, like I said, you have so many hats and experience. So let's talk a little bit. I think it said developer first. So let's talk about the experience as a developer and the builder, and then maybe you can tell us how you came in to add that value of the attorney and what benefit it would be to an individual to have you on their team or leading their project.
Basically, I've been a developer builder for the last 20 years. And so I think I've built everything from commercial, multifamily, residential, anything that you can think of in terms of building projects. And I started a long time ago in the building industry, but been a general contractor and developer over, like I said, the last 20 years. And the thing is that every time I was building something, I noticed that there was a lot of law. It was more law than it was building, actually. And so as I began to look at that as my career moved forward, I said, I got to do something to help me understand the law. And I'm always extreme. So I decided to go to law school and become a lawyer because I knew that that would help my career and it would also help my clients whenever I was working with them. Because the building industry today is all about laws. It's about laws. It's about codes. It's about understanding what you're building and developing. And if you understand what you're building and developing, you can move the project forward quicker, and also you can help your client understand all the aspects of the job, especially with the background and experience that I have. So that's why I decided to add the law. And like I said, development is really a great thing to do for investors. It's a great thing to do for people that actually need a space to live in. And as you were talking about the ADUs are behind, in the residential area mostly. They go behind, people's homes and things of that nature. People are always looking for a side hustle or something to do. Where your side hustle can be right in your backyard as an ADU because you can rent that ADU and actually help yourself pay off your existing home. And so a lot of laws have been placed on the books here in California to assist the homeowner to make this happen because all that dead space in the backyard, a lot of people are just losing money on it. So what we would like to do is help you determine what type of property to build, how much money it may make for you, and if it's a good thing for you to do this. So that's what we do in the way of, like I said, with the law and with the business and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm in my second career. In my first career, I was an attorney for several years, for about 25.
Yep.
But, looking at, as a real estate professional, as an ADU consultant and advising and guiding people, especially in the arena of building accessory dwelling units now, everything is a contract. I mean, all the little disclosures, and people don't seem to understand that. And then the rights that we've, gained through the accessory dwelling unit laws are state level laws, but when we, take on a project, we're dealing with your city, your county, the local, jurisdictions, and sometimes they're interpreting law a little different. Sometimes they're trying to do things that maybe don't line up, and so again, having that attorney had been able to break down, the contract and the law and have a conversation is a benefit, I think, to any team. So that's just a great asset.
Yeah, that's how we do it. I mean, my disclaimer up front when I said that this is just for advertisement purposes and doesn't create an attorney-client relationship. Well, if you want and you're working with our team, we can create an attorney-client relationship and help you have an understanding of what type of project that you're going to get into, what the entitlements are. We can even go as far as getting the entitlements for you and handing over the entitlements, and you can, build it yourself if you would like to. However, we can work with you in conjunction with the building process and the going to the authority having jurisdiction and getting an understanding of what you're getting into. And what a lot of people don't understand is that if you don't understand the laws surrounding construction, you will lose a lot of money. And a lot of people that are building things and they want to build them, they have to understand it's not building the structure, it's understanding what you're doing from the very beginning. Exactly. And you and I bring a combined almost probably 75 years of construction and real estate together. So as we put those two together and you have a person that understands the real estate market, we can tell you what the value of your property would be in the ballpark area after the property is built. And then to be able to hit the mark with the budget in construction, that's by having experience and understanding the law, because we're working on a project right now where the builder went in and never got plans, permits, or anything, and now we're having to start all over. And can you imagine the pain that client feels when you have to start all over and you have to pay to have things torn down, or you had to pay to have things taken out because you didn't do it properly up front? And that just comes along with an education in what you're doing. You can't just be a person with a hammer and nails and think that that's what's going to get you by. So today in the building market, we have to look at everything in a value add type of way, and we have to be able to understand like what we're building, because our idea is to bring the job in on time and on budget. That's the way we build, on time and on budget. And we look at projects like this, excellence one project at a time. We're not taking on so many projects that we can't complete the work that we're doing. And then also, not satisfying the client. We want to delight the client and make sure you understand what's going on and that your money is safe with us.
Exactly. And I think that, having a team and a team with integrity, and you definitely need to like vet people, because the project you mentioned, I mean, they signed the contract, thought they understood it, did not have an attorney review it beforehand, which is always a great idea. Then the work started happening. And so, based on what you thought you signed in the contract and what you saw going on in your property, things was lining up. Little did they know that behind the scene that this contractor had not, followed through on applications for a permit, had not done everything they're supposed to do to the standard. And so now, when you get ready to put that property on market and the city comes in, then it's revealed. And so you can't just eyeball things, and you can't just pick any contractor or anybody to do a project. You really need to have a team, and you have to understand the laws and the requirements even on your city. And so sometimes, we get these calls and people just want to know how much an accessory dwelling unit costs. And it's, kind of tell them it's not like buying a shoe. It's not even like buying a motor home. We have to build this, and it has to meet certain requirements, for your lot, for your city. And so, I mean, Charles, let's talk a little bit. I mean, I know we have to take a break in a few minutes, but can we start talking a little bit about a couple of the steps that a homeowner investor needs to take or be ready to take to move forward with the project when they reach out to us?
The homeowner needs to have an understanding of what it is that they want. That's the start. What do you want? And what do you want? What do you expect that to look like? Because everybody has a vision in their mind of kind of like what they want. They just need to understand how to get there. So if you have that vision in your mind of what you want, then basically we can take you there through a step-by-step process. And one of the things that homeowners have to understand is before you start a project, you want to ensure that you have the financing in place. If you have the financing in place and you get that idea from us, it should be on point in terms of what you're going to spend to build this property. And a lot of people just go and they say, I want to build a property. They spend some money on some plans. They get the plans, and then they go out and they hire the wrong person to get the job done. Or they hire somebody that doesn't understand how to estimate. I've been estimating for over 20 years, and so when I look at jobs or projects, I can pretty much tell you what the problems are going to be before you get into the job. And when you have an inexperienced person that can't tell you what those problems are going to be, then that's the burden that you're going to have to bear down the road. And so basically, it's a little bit more, I'm oversimplifying a complicated process. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but you need to know what you want from the very beginning. And if you know what you want, we can help you get there. And we'll take you through all the entitlement steps and, take you from the ground up. And that's one of the things that we do. We can do raw land, we can build from the ground up, or what we can also do is we can add to an existing house, an ADU, and we can take it all the way from the plans to the permits and to the building process. And so, like I said, knowing what you want is the basic thing that you're going to need to do.
Yeah. And I think we were talking the other day, and I think as a real estate professional, you kind of just really can make it plain. And a lot of people, when we're dealing with accessory dwelling units, you usually already purchased your home. So when you purchase your home, you went and got pre-qualified for a lender before the realtor would even take you out. And then once you got that offer accepted for that home that you wanted, you had to open escrow, so you had to put money in to get started with the process. And really have to think about accessory dwelling units the same way. It might take a few $1,000s to get started, to get those plans, and to get something tangible so that you can have intelligent conversations with the contractor and with your lender and get a real budget. So we need to talk about, be ready to put that earnest money towards our ADU project or our small lot development. We have to take a short break here, but please stick with us. We will come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the projects that we have and give you more valuable information.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station, KCAAradio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to the International Wealth Builders Radio Show with your host, Dr. Sharon Barnes, where we are with attorney Charles James talking about ADU, small lot development, commercial developments, and so forth. And so we covered a lot of information in our first segment, and now we want to talk a little bit about investor benefits, on how the investors are taking advantage of the new laws that's coming down that's helping us with our inventory shortage, and how we can help as a team.
Okay, so as an investor, when you look at projects of the nature with the ADU, one of the things that you're looking at, because most of the time back a long time ago, I don't want to age myself, but a long time ago, people would just go look at a property,
Right.
and they would see if it would cash flow. And when they would look at that property to see if it would cash flow, the only things that they really could do is they could, upgrade the home.
Right.
They could, maybe put a pool in, maybe do something that would add value for a person that wanted to rent the house. And so they really didn't have a lot of different ways to go. Now, if you think about it, and you upgrade the house to some degree, and then you put an ADU in. When you put that ADU in, what you're doing is you're increasing the value of the property, first of all, and then you're increasing the return that you will get on the property, so to speak, because the ADU is going to increase the value, and it's going to give you another unit. Because when people used to count doors, you could only count one door for one door. But now what you can do is you can count the house, and you can count the ADU. So you're talking about two doors now as an investor. So you can, as you rent this property, let's just use round numbers. If you rent this property and you rent it out and you say you want to pay it off in 15 years, you have two properties cash flowing for you to help you pay this property off.
Exactly.
Because, and let's say this, one of the rules of thumb in investing that I've always noticed is if you only have one door, you have one door. And so if you're looking at multifamily, if two people move out, then you're okay, because you just say, you know what, I have the other 8 people to pay for it. But in a home, if you have a home that you're renting and the person moves out, then the income dies. You have to re-rent the house again. But if you have two people, it's almost like having a duplex. And so basically, those people will be there all the time. Because how likely is it that you're going to let both people move out at the same time?
Exactly.
Or that both people will move out at the same time? It's not really likely. So that property is always going to be continuously cash flowing with the ADU on there. And then, like I said, you're going to get a better return on your investment as you have the ADU on the property. So I think that investors have a really great opportunity and a great season to invest right now because, like I said, the ADU just adds tremendous extra value.
Yeah, and I think whether you're a beginning investor, because people want to invest, always thought about it, trying to come up with money to buy another property and then fix it up and flip it or wholesale it or whatever, and not leveraging what they already own and control. And so definitely the multifamily has become such a frenzy. Everybody wanted multifamily. But if you open your mind and you look at the laws and opportunity we have right now, we can create multifamily. So instead of being the crab in the barrel trying to get the best deal for a fourplex that's already rehabbed and ready to go at premium price, you can leverage what you have. And we understand that really to leverage, when I say that, it's not only building the ADU, but also learning to operate your investment and handle it like a business. And that's again an area where you as an attorney and developer can look at that and be a value added for long term to help homeowners especially and investors. Investors usually are kind of savvy. They have their numbers, they know their numbers, they're not going to spend money unless they're going to make money. But homeowners now are hearing about accessory dwelling units. They're hearing about being able to change the wealth dynamic of their family, to build up their retirement, to build homes for parents or adult kids. And they're trying to do the math, but they're kind of overwhelmed. Like you said in earlier, it's a complicated process. It's a lot of moving parts, but it's doable with the right team and people with the right skill set. So we're here to help. And again, having that developer 20-year plus experience, having an active law license, somebody that can step into court and stand toe to toe is just a value added. So I'm just really excited to have you here and get more information.
One of the things also that, and I'll go to the investor first and then the residential person. One of the things about like investors is that time is money.
Yes.
Right. And so when you spend time going to see what the zoning is, determining what the prices will be related to building the ADU, I find that a lot of investors, some of them don't have the time to do that.
Exactly.
And so where we step in and we fill in the gap is that we have the time to do that because that's what you pay us to do. So you pay us to give you a package, a bundle, so to speak, so you know whether this property is going to cash flow and how it's going to cash flow for you. Those are the things that we can provide. Now, as a person that's just a regular residential person, you almost turn into an investor, and you turn your side hustle into something that's right in your backyard.
Exactly.
So you don't have to go look for you don't have to look for the side hustle; it's in your backyard. And when you start looking at and focusing on how long do I want it to take to pay off my house? Do I want it to take 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years? And you take that and put that math together, and you understand that if I put an ADU back here, I can pay off my house in 10 years rather than 30.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to accelerate the payment like this.
Right.
And when I use this strategy to accelerate the payment to pay off the house earlier, it's only because I have that ADU back there that's cash flowing.
Exactly.
And then if I have something else outside that I'm doing, now I really have cash flow. A lot of people get nervous about saying, oh, I don't really want to take out a second to build that house back there, or I don't want to refi to build the house. But the land is earning you zero money.
Right.
And all you're doing is mowing grass.
Exactly.
You're mowing grass, you're taking care of it, you're doing the maintenance on it, but it's not paying you back. So if you want the project to pay you back and you want the land to pay you back, you have to do something with it. It can't just sit back there dormant. If you do something with it, and some people are like, well, I don't have the money and I really don't know what I'm doing. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
So don't disqualify yourself before you know what you qualify for. Let us give you an idea of what you qualify for. But, a lot of people try to do that.
Yeah, and there's all kind of options. And say, well, money don't grow on trees. Yes, it does if it's in your backyard and you change it into an ADU, And then one of the hardest things is to get people past the simple math. If you're not an investor and you haven't really understand what knowing your numbers are, but when you talk to the contractor, you talk to your lender, and you really explore the options for financing, you find out that you can cash flow, the ADU, and while you building the ADU, improve your own home, maybe with solar panels or energy efficiency, and so you are more comfortable. You have the ADU there, and in a lot of cases, the rental income from the ADU is paying not only for itself, but helping you pay the mortgage, as you said. So we're here to help you get beyond the simple math and get the ADU there and see what benefit. I mean, I remember, when we were talking about what a difference $500 would make in a family, and when we were going through COVID and they sent out these extra checks, $500, $600, whatever, and it's like people are so excited. You can get twice that much off the ADU. I mean, we can do it, and you don't have to work at it, and it can make a difference. So we just really have to open our mind to and take advantage of the opportunity. This is a new wave. This is probably like bottled water back in the day, and people said, never imagined I would be, paying $2.50 for some water in a bottle. And this is the wave. So don't miss it. Don't look back, because there are people out there that's just waiting for you to sell your property or for life circumstances to cause you not to have it. And they're going to leverage it. And we're here to help you change the dynamic for your family. And so I that's just where my heart is. I'm sorry if it sounds like I repeat myself, but I do believe that it's an opportunity for you to leverage what you own and control. So we need to really take advantage of that.
One of the things, the ADU is a great thing, but I want to make sure we get an opportunity to talk about the other parts and pieces that we provide as well. So if you are a person that has some raw land, let's say you have 5 acres of raw land, what we can basically do is we can evaluate the raw land that you have, and we can do a statistical look at what it would take to put multifamily property, commercial property, industrial property onto the land that you have. And we start from the very, very beginning with the entitlements. And starting from the very, very beginning, we'll be able to tell you, what you can do, where you can go, what kind of property maybe you should put on this land based upon the area that you're in. And we love investors, and we love regular homeowners. And so that's how we are able to work with a multitude of people putting together projects. Because I know that we've been talking about the ADU a lot, and we think that that's a very, very good market for investors who are beginning and investors who are seasoned, and even homeowners that want to jump into the investment market to some degree and not have to, like I said, look around for side hustles. The ADU can be your side hustle. The investment property can be. And one of the things that you talk about, Dr. Barnes, that I like is that, there's a lot of raw land around that people have been sitting on for decades and for a multitude of time through families and generations, and they actually have not done anything with the property. It's just sitting. And, there's a lot of ways to do the investment properties. Maybe you have the land and somebody else has the money.
Exactly.
And so, Dr. Barnes, we talked about this before. You can bring in people to invest in the land. Maybe you guys can become partners, or some people may just want to buy you out. Exactly. And so you're able to get that money from the buyout and take it and invest in other real estate properties. Because one of the things that Ted Turner said is, he said they're not making any more new land, so you might as well buy it.
Exactly.
And he has a lot of land. And so when you look at it, the investment strategy to use real estate
just finish
as a vehicle to make your portfolio grow is one of the best things that you could ever do.
We got to take another short break here, but please stay with us. We will have more information on projects and giving you more ideas on how we can leverage property you already own and control.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Notes, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
basically go to the radio station KCAA radio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to the International Wealth Builders Radio Show with your host, Dr. Sharon Barnes. We're here with attorney Charles James, and we were talking about investing and development in property that you already own and control and the benefits to investors. And so I want to just continue that conversation and also just mention, like with the Senate Bill 9 and 10 that passed last year, you know, we're able to subdivide some of our lots, therefore putting additional dwelling units on there up to 4 units. 4 units or between 1 and 4 units are considered residential. Right now, most of the laws are keeping residential, but if you divide your property and have a small lot development plan laid out and willing to work in phases, you can actually take those 2 parcels and get up to 8 units in most areas, and that kind of hits the rims of commercial if you got 8 doors, as Attorney Charles talked about earlier. And so having a person that can help you with that, because that commercial experience is really important. And what we have, because there's other people doing accessory dwelling units out there, but as the laws evolve and they apply to multifamily, creating multifamily, increasing number of doors on existing multifamily, having someone with the commercial background and being able to get entitlements is just crucial. And so I really want to give you the opportunity to talk a little further about that and give us a little better understanding.
Okay. One of the things that I want you guys to understand that I didn't say up front is that the reason that you don't hear any pricing on this show or anything like that is because every lot is like a strand of hair. They're all different. So you can't, assert or state what the price would be for your property or another property, because they all have different requirements. They're all in different shapes and sizes and things of that nature. And so you really have to be specific about the project you're doing. So I want to mention that so that everybody understands that's why we don't talk about pricing on the show. Also, the multifamily market is a different kind of market. The investor is going to be somewhat experienced in going into a market like that. And the homeowner or the residential person that would want to get into that type of market would have to be walked through, because it's very, very extensive, and it takes a lot to really understand that market. And what I would suggest for a person that's new and they're really just starting out is that they start in the residential market and they start slower so they can understand how things actually work, because it's very rare that a person that's a residential investor jumps into the commercial market right away, because you need to understand what a septic tank is, what city sewer is, what the different elements of the projects that you have to build. When you are working with multifamily and you're in a city, you're dealing with the Department of Transportation. You're dealing with a lot of things from the city. You have a lot of other issues that you need to consider. And the best way to learn those is to start out in like a ADU, a residential market or something like that. But for the investor that is really seasoned and they understand what they want a 12-unit building. They plan on building 5 12-unit buildings on this land. They know that the density of the land and like what it is that they're going to be putting on that property. And they've done the research with us. that project is more than likely going to be very successful because we've done the research on it. And one of the things that I can tell you guys is when I was a new builder and I didn't understand the elements of how to set up a building project, it always cost me more money than I had imagined. I've done a lot. When I was brand spanking new, I did projects that I actually paid for myself to complete. Thank you. So, so I had to pay to complete those projects, and it was very painful because I didn't make money off those projects. But now that I'm seasoned and I've been around for a long time, I know how to set up a project, so I can tell you within 1% to 2% of error what that project is going to cost you. And in the building industry, I always say you only get one bite at the apple. Because when you make a mistake in these projects, then it creates a very, very big problem for you. And these problems are not cheap to fix. That's why what you do is you invest up front. So when you invest up front with these projects, then you get to understand how valuable that is. So as you go through the project and these multifamily projects, you're putting it together, and as you put it together, you stay on time and on budget, then what happens is you're not trying to play catch up in your first, second, third year, because it's almost like you can never catch up. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to go it alone on your projects, because when you make those mistakes, now you're by yourself.
Exactly.
And you want to, in the multifamily market, have a great team. Exactly. Right? And it's like anything. And I'm a sports person. I play college football, and I always recognize when we had great teams that what we did is we won.
Right.
But when we had a weak coach, weak team, we lost because of the fact that we weren't put together well, and we just didn't know what we're doing. And the real estate market is no different. Exactly. When you put together a great team who's always thinking, always looking out for your best interest, you're going to have a greater opportunity to win. And Dr. Barnes and myself stay focused on our clients, and we try to look at what we're doing with the clients and have an understanding of where the project would be going. And so that's what we want to do for you as an investor and as a person who wants to put together a project. We want to be that coach. We want to be that great team that helps you get to the point where you're going to be financially successful and to where you're going to have a completed asset that's going to have a high value. And even if it's an ADU as opposed to a multifamily or opposed to industrial or commercial, we want to make sure that you win on these projects. And like an investor that's investing in a multifamily project is no different than a person who's building a CVS, and they're going to put all of their wares in there and they're going to sell them. Exactly. Well, if you're building a CVS and you say we're going to do it in 6 months and you end up doing it in a year and a half, that person, that business has lost a lot of money.
Exactly.
Because imagine all the clients that could have walked in there and purchased products.
Exactly.
And they didn't get the opportunity to walk in because you weren't finished. Exactly. And then if you go over your budget, it takes you time to go back and have to try to recoup that money. And it's more than likely you're not going to recoup that money. You just are at a loss. And so that loss is going to ride with you all the way through your ownership. Right. And so, like I said, in the multifamily unit and even in the ADU, and I noticed over the years that what happens, Dr. Barnes, is people even, let's say with a simple home remodel, people do a home remodel and they say, well, I think this home remodel will cost $200,000, and they end up spending $500,000. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Yeah. And I was looking at an article where Vanessa Williams thought that the actress and the singer thought that she was doing a house and the remodel was going to be like $1 million or something like that. Right. And these numbers are somewhere in the right place. But she actually ended up spending a ton more money on the house and had to end up selling it because of the fact that when they put it together, they didn't have the proper team. And I can say that, because if you had the proper team, you wouldn't think you're going to spend $1 million and then you spend $3 million.
Right.
And that's what this is about. This is about putting together a proper team, evaluating your project, whether it be ADU or whether it be a multifamily project, and figuring out what the value is going to be at the end of that project, and figuring out how not to get lost as you go through the project. And like I was saying, back to what I was saying, people that are doing like a remodel project, they hire the wrong person.
Yeah.
They spend all the time going down to the bank. They spend all the time getting this stuff, hire this wrong person, and end up spending or $400,000 more.
Exactly. I want to really give an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the entitlement experience and what you bring. We mentioned earlier about people who have land. We have a lot of people, and I've gotten calls, and I know several that if they listen to me, they know that they've talked to me about this. They bought land years ago and they haven't done anything with it, whether it's lack of credit, lack of funding, lack of the right team, and knowing what the next step should be. But we're talking about the difference when it's raw land, which I define right here as never having any structure or anything there. Utilities may not be nowhere close, right? You have to really get the entitlement to build anything on it. And some people bought land when it was raw out in nowhere. But right now they've had it for 20, 30, even 40 years. And their lot is the only lot not developed on the whole block of nice custom homes. So it's an infill lot. Utilities are there, curves are there, or whatever. And so really I want to talk about, the entitlements, how we can help them, and to reach out, so that you can see what options, because there's options, whether it's joint venture, financing, or whatever, but it's time. If you held on property for 20 plus years and not done anything about it, located especially in California, it's time to catch the wave.
So you want to know about the all special sauce is what you're, what you're asking. You want to know about the all special sauce and like what we do. So the thing is this. Look, when people tell me they don't have money, well, the land is your collateral.
Exactly.
It's your money. And basically, if all those other homes were built around that raw piece of land, somebody believed in that. And somebody is watching you saying, I cannot wait until this person falls and can't either pay the payment or either dies or something happens.
Yep.
And I can sweep in and I can get the land and I'm going to build just like all these other houses that are here. Because they recognize that, guess what? Lenders are there to lend. They're not there not to lend. So when you evaluate, your land and you're disqualifying yourself before we get an opportunity to qualify yourself, you're taking money out of your pocket.
Exactly.
You're taking money out of your heirs' pocket. And you're not thinking about the idea that if you had a person evaluate what you were doing that knew what they were doing, then that raw land can turn into something that will pay you back.
Exactly.
And something that could pay you a reoccurring revenue depending on how you go about using the land. And you'll know whether or not do you want the land to stay in your family? Do you want the land to earn you a one-time sale? What do you want to do with the land? Those are questions that we ask you as we move forward. So we know what to do with the land. And as far as the entitlements go, when we're going to get the entitlements, we're going to look at all the different areas that that land can serve as a purpose. Like you said, there's homes in there. So we know that we're not going to be able to go in there and build a garage because it's not zoned for that.
Exactly.
We know we're not going to be able to put a school right in the middle of a bunch of homes unless it's zoned for that. So when we go in and we look at the zoning and things of that nature, we're going to be able to tell you this is what you can do here and this is what you can't do here. And then this is the value that we think that we can help you get if you want to sell it, you want to hold it. And, so those are the things that the entitlements will help you with. And that's what we do. We go in and we help you understand that.
Yeah, and I think it's very critical to those people who have land, because some in San Bernardino area, I know that there's people who've owned land and they haven't done anything with their parcel, and there are commercial retail shops, CVS's, stores all around them. You ever just drive down like Foothill or drive down one of the major streets, and it's like there's retail stores and houses, and all of a sudden it's this vacant lot, and it's been vacant for the 30 years that you've been there. And it might just be a single owner that just really don't know what the next steps are. And so it is hard to find, like you said, the right team. And again, this is the first time I had the opportunity to have someone presented, with the entitlement, to really talk to the community about entitlements, about being able to do a variety of projects or structures under a comprehensive plan. And so I just think it's really important that there is help and assistance out there. There are qualified people, and that it is time for you to leverage that property that you've been sitting on, paying taxes on, hopefully keeping it in your family, but it's time for it to really make a difference to your family and the community.
Well, one of the things that we can do, like you see a Starbucks, you see a CVS, and one of the things that I feel I'm good at is I can go talk to a Starbucks. I can go talk to a CVS and say, look, I have a piece of raw land I want to know if you guys are interested in, and if you think that you would get the traffic that you'd need and deserve to want to come on this land and build. And what a lot of people don't understand is you can lease land as well.
Exactly.
I mean, because it has value. It's valuable. And some of the larger retailers would rather lease the land than buy it.
Exactly.
And some of them would rather buy it. People have different strategies. And so if you're able to lease your land, the land that you see that's just sitting there, not doing anything for you, not gaining any value, well, it's gaining value, but not giving you any value as an
Right.
independent person,
Right.
then you could do that. So there's a lot of different ways to leverage your property so that you can, be successful from it. And like I said, you might be a person who's ready to retire and all you want to do is sell the land and get rid of it. That's fine. You may be a person that's like going to be working for the next 30 years and you want to lease it or you want to do something with it that's going to return value to you. That's fine too. So any of the different directions that you want to go, with your land, we can help you. And like we keep saying, we're saying it over and over again about the entitlements. The entitlements are really important because when you sell a piece of land with entitlements, it's worth a lot more than without. And if you know all the inside things and the person who's purchasing doesn't have to go look up those things because somebody's going to have to do it, then the land is more valuable. So even if your land is sitting and you don't know what you want to do, but you have a general idea and you want to get the entitlements, we can help you do that. We can work with you on that. And then if you decide to do something, you decide to. Yeah. But your land has value.
Yes. So I thank you so much for that information. I think people need to hear it. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up. We're going to tell you how to contact Attorney James and myself and how to move forward.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAA
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280.
Welcome back to International Radio Show with your host, Dr. Sharon Barnes, and we've had an information-filled show today with attorney Charles James talking about everything from ADUs to land development to entitlements and hopefully, empowering and open up the minds of people who have purchased property and haven't done anything with it to make it income generating in a number of years, to give you a resource to reach out to. And so just as we were talking about the ADUs and about making multifamily, just want to make the distinction that I've received from a lot of the lenders. Between the ADU, accessory dwelling unit, living spaces, and spaces that qualify as SB9, when it comes to rent, my understanding from my lending partners are that with an accessory dwelling unit on the property, you have to collect rent for about 24 months before it can be treated, say, the same as if you bought a condo or you had a investment property at a separate location. However, with some of the nuances that's required for SB9, if it's considered an SB9 unit, you can start calculating and counting that rent towards your income from day one. And then there's just a few little differences, maybe like having an address or separately metered, and those vary from city and county. But just to know that now you're starting to see ADUs versus SB9 units, and so we'll be, dealing with that in a little bit more detail. But I want you to know that distinction is out there. There's different benefits, and again, this is the little nuances why you need a qualified team working on your side to keep up with the changes, the laws, know the differences when it comes to construction. And, sometimes when we talked, Charles, about having a team and being knowledgeable and so forth, but also that there's a lot of value added in being able to take the design that they have in mind, the location of the ADU on their property, and give them some economic suggestions that will keep them in budget or be more cost efficient and that type of thing. So I mean, if you could talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to tell them how to contact you and what the next step should be.
When you look at the budget and staying in line with the budget, again, it goes back to experience, and it's hard to really define that because everybody comes with a different bag of experience.
Exactly.
And then one of the things is that some of the building departments have, for lack of better terms, cookie cutter model type of ADUs that you could build. But we have to be careful with that because land structures are different. So we don't know whether we would have setbacks that would accommodate what the city is looking for. And so we just got to be careful in looking at that. But that's one of the things. And then, as I call it, KISS, keep it simple. Just keep it simple. If you keep it simple, then you don't have to worry about building something that is complicated or something that is going to could be a cost overrun. And then again, I cannot stress enough, you got to have the right team and the right ideas. And, we would have to sit down with you and share the ideas that we have in terms of looking at the way we would go about developing your ADU or even any of the projects, the multifamily projects, the commercial or industrial project, and looking at how we're going to develop it. But going back to your point, just looking at how to make things cost effective. Because in the building industry, that is where you win. So when you're watching the clock, what you're watching actually is the cost on the building, and you're seeing if you're in step with the time, the Gantt chart that you have set up for building. And people say, well, that's not a budget. It is a budget because every time if you go over, when you say you're going to finish it in 10 days and you finish in 20, that's money.
Exactly.
So that's your budget being burnt up. And when you look at the products that you put in the property and you say, okay, I want a Taj Mahal type of ADU, and you put expensive product in there, it's going to cost you a lot more. And sometimes when you look at a budget or you look at things that you're doing, you think that, oh, this is going to run my budget over putting solar panels on a property. If it's done properly, then it can benefit you greatly. If it's not done properly, then it won't.
Yeah, it's just really important. I know we work with a lot of people who are building ADUs for family and different things, and so the math is not their number one criteria. However, knowing what the end is going to be, whether you're building for a rental income or for a loved one or for a child, we still can sit down and strategize how the ADU can pay for itself and improve your property and help your family live a better, more comfortable economic life in California. So we thank you for tuning in with us today. Attorney Charles, how can they get in contact with you?
You guys can reach me at cjames@charlesjameslaw.com. So again, that's cjames JAMES, at charlesjameslaw.com. The phone number you can reach me at is 626-428-3113. 626-428-3113. Dr. Barnes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm Dr. Sharon Barnes. You can contact me on social media under Dr. Sharon Barnes Real Estate or under ADU Advantage. My website is ADU Advantage Now, and the phone number you can reach me is 909-708-5263, 909-708-5263. See you next month. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Can antibiotic medicines, long hailed as miracle drugs, be too much of a good thing? Yes. Two factors are at work here.